Alright guys, so in this video we're going to go over the past paper questions for speed, distance and time. So you can find these kind of topic specific worksheets on the National 5 Maths website, and for applications you would search that as well. Remember, when we're doing past paper questions, check whether it says paper 1 or paper 2, because that tells you if it's calculator or non-calculator. Paper 1's non-calc and paper 2's calculator. So question number 1 says that Joe had a business meeting in London. He travelled from home to his meeting by car. He arrived at the meeting at 11:45. He travelled 220 miles to his meeting at an average speed of 50 miles per hour, and during the journey stopped for half an hour for a breakfast. Calculate the time he left home. So I'm actually working back the way from 11:45, and what I'm doing is working back, taking into account this journey and taking into account that break. So the first thing I'm going to really do is work out how long he travelled for. So when we're doing speed, distance, time, always good to kind of set out your terms, your values. So D equals, S equals, and T equals. D is 220 miles. This always kind of helps to make sure you know what you're trying to find, and you can get the formula from that. Speed is 50 miles per hour. And the time's what we're trying to work out. So you can use your triangle, or you might be good enough to have them memorised. DST, cover up the thing you want, so the formula is distance over speed, distance divided by speed. So 220 over 50. Nice and easy. What we can do right now, if this is non-calc as it says, it's paper 1. How am I going to go about doing this? Well, as a fraction like this, I could simplify that by cancelling out the zeros. That's just the same as dividing both by 10. Right? If I was doing 220 divided by 50, I would divide by 10 and then divide by 5, so it's just the same thing. So now I'm left with 22 divided by 5. I'm going to have a point, so I might as well put it in just now. I can fit 0, 5's into 2, remainder 2. I can fit 4 into 22, remainder 2. And then I can fit 4 5's into 20, so it's 4.4. Right, 4.4 hours isn't really any use to us when we're trying to do time interval questions. What I want to get that into is hours and minutes. This 4 here, that's a whole number, so that's just hours already. What we need to convert is this 0.4 part. In 1 hour, there's 60 minutes, so we're going to times by 60 to go into minutes. 0.4 times 60, well, times it by 10 would be 4. Get rid of that just now. Times it by 10 would be 4. Then I'm just times it by 6. So that's 24 minutes. So it's 4 hours and 24 minutes. And that's the time. Now what we're going to do is work backwards from 11:45, including that extra half hour. So we're starting at 11:45. We're basically taking off 30 minutes that we spent in breaks. That would be 11:15, and then we're taking off that journey time. Now you could do that in steps if you wanted to. Alright, I'll just do it all in the winner. So 4 hours off 11, that would be 7:15, and then we're going 24 minutes back. Alright, from 7:15. Okay, so I'll just do it on the side there. It would be 7:15, and then I'm basically taking off 24 minutes from that. Okay, take off 15, so I'm left with 9, so it's going to be 0651. Okay, I've already took off 15, that would get me to 7, but I'm wanting to take off 24, so that would be another 9. So the person leaves at 0651. Okay, that's when the person leaves home, and that's our answer for that one. Okay, next question. Question 2. Nicola spent 21 minutes exercising on a treadmill. Her average speed was 6.6 kilometers an hour. Calculate the distance she ran. Okay, so distance equals speed equals time equals. Distance was the thing we're trying to work out. Speed was 6.6 kilometers an hour, and the time was 21 minutes. What you need to check when we're doing speed distance time is that units kind of match up. If the speed is given in kilometers per hour, my time also has to be given in hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this into hours. I've got 21 minutes. To get that into decimal hours, I divide by 60. Okay, this is calculator. It's a paper 2 one. So 21 divided by 60, and it's 0.35. So that's me got the time now. Now I can use my formula, use the triangle if we can't remember. So distance, speed, time. I'm wanting distance, so it's this speed times time. So that's just going to be 6.6 times 0.35. 6.6 times 0.35 is 2.31. Go back to the question. The speed was in kilometres per hour, so this is going to be kilometres that was travelled. And that's our final answer there. Okay, question number 3 says, this is obviously part of another question. So another rider completed 1 lap of the circuit in 81 seconds. The track is 3.6 kilometres long. Calculate his average speed in kilometres per hour. So if we think about it, if we want to work out speed in kilometres per hour, the time has to be in hours. Okay, so what we need to do is convert 81 seconds into hours. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, let's get it into minutes. So 81 seconds, how many minutes is that? Well, in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. So I'm going to divide by 60 to get it into minutes. This is paper 2, so it's calculator. So 81 divided by 60 is 1.35 minutes. And then you should be comfortable with how to go from minutes to hours. That's just dividing by 60 again, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. Whoops. So it's 1.35 divided by 60. So divide that by 60, and it's 0.0225. And that's hours. So now, when I work out the speed, which is distance over time, my units are now going to be kilometres, because kilometres is going to be in the top per hour. So distance was 3.6. That was what our time was. Pop it in the calculator and just make sure that you put in those units. Questions clearly ask for those units, so make sure we put them in. And it was 160 kilometres per hour. Right, always kind of make sure if you think, does that make sense? Well, this is obviously talking about a rider, so I'm assuming it's someone on a motorbike. So just kind of think, does that maybe make sense? And I think it does. Just another wee kind of check you can kind of do to make sure that you've gone about the question correctly. Okay, question number 4. Reese is given a lift to school. Leaves the house, at 8:30 AM and arrives at school at 8:50 AM. And they're using an app on their phone to calculate her average speed for the journey. Her phone displays 6.8 meters per second. What distance did she travel? Okay, so let me do speed, distance, time. Let's start off by writing down D equals, S equals, and T equals. Distance, that's what we're trying to work out. Speed was 6.8 meters per second. And the time that she took, I can work out 8:30 to 8:50. That's obviously just 20 minutes. Okay? Now, my speed, the speed will basically determine what units you need for time. So the speed is meters per second. So my time's currently minutes. So what I need to do is turn this into how many seconds this person took. So it's going to be 20 times 60, because in 1 minute there's 60 seconds. So 20 times 60. Okay, this is non-calc. Cover up the 2 zeros, do 2 times 6, which is 12, add the zeros back in. Okay, so that's how many seconds it is. Then I can use my formula for distance. Speed times time. If you can't remember that, remember you've got the triangle to use. Cover up the thing you want. So the distance is, the speed was 6.8 times 1200. How am I going to go about doing this? Well, I'm going to times by, basically I've got 2 zeros here, so that's the same as doing 6.8 times 12 times 100. So I'm going to times by 100 and get 600. So move the decimal point one place, that would be 68. Move it again, 680 times 12. And now at this stage, that would be the same as doing 680 times 10 plus 680 times 2, and then adding them together. Or, what might be easier, and I'll put a wee or, just set out a sum. So 680 times 12, hopefully I can fit all this in. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 6 is 12, so that would be 13. Add a 0 on, 1 times 0 is just 0, 1 times 8 is obviously just 8, 1 times 6 is just 6. Add them together, and I'm going to get, that would be 0, this would be 6, that would be 11, 1 plus 6 plus 1, that's 7, so that's 8, and it's 8160. And if you remember the units for the question, it was meters per second, so the distance is going to be meters. And it does just say work out the distance, it doesn't say to change it into kilometres. What it does say though is to give your answer to 2 significant figures. So let's do that. 1, 2, this is where I'm going to kind of draw my line. 6 obviously means that I'm going to round up, so it'll be 8200 metres is my answer. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable. Obviously that had quite a lot of non-calculator kind of calculations you've had to do, so make sure you're comfortable with those. So I think we're on to the last question, question 5. Alzena drove from Glasgow to Manchester Airport, 252 miles away. She left Glasgow at 11:25. She arrived at Manchester Airport at 3:25 AM. How long did the journey take? And then work out what the average speed was. So paper 1, non-calc. Part A is simply how long did it take. So it was 11:25 to 3:25. So 11:25 to 3:25. Okay, let's do this in stages. Go to the nearest hour, right? And this is 24 hour. Well, it's 12-hour time. This is. So you can keep it in that, or you could change it. Okay, so 11:25, and let's go to midnight. It's usually about 12 AM. That is obviously 35 minutes. If this helps, just make the leaps and make kind of wee jumps. And then I'm going from 12 AM to 3:25 AM, and hopefully that's one that you can do in one step. So that would obviously be 3 hours and 25. Okay, or this one is actually quite easy. That's a good example of showing you the steps, but if you'd actually just stopped, looked at that, 11:25, 3:25, that's just 4 hours in total, which is indeed what we get. Okay, so we've got our 4 hours. Part B, calculate our average speed in miles per hour. So speed, distance, time, D equals, S equals, T equals. Distance was 252 miles. Speed's what we're trying to work out, and the time was 4 hours. So nice and easy. Speed is distance over time. Distance was 252. Time was 4 hours. It's non-calc, so we need to do 252 divided by 4. And I'm getting 63, and it's miles per hour. Distance was miles, time was hours, so miles per hour. So hopefully you can see that speed, distance, time, I would say, is one of those maybe simpler topics. Just make sure you're doing the simple things right. You're using the correct formula. You're making sure that the units match. If a question says get your answer in miles per hour, but your time is in minutes, you need to make sure you remember to convert. And make sure it's kind of wee simple steps like the time intervals. Make sure you're not getting those wrong. Okay, so make sure you take time doing these kind of questions, because these are the ones we want to pick up as many marks as possible.